Today we'll try to install Anaconda in my MacBook. So first thing we have to do is we have to download Anaconda. So I'll just go Google and type download Anaconda. First link, I'm clicking on this first link. Here you see there is the Anaconda distribution download for macOS. So depending on your operating system, you have to download your version. So here you have Windows, Mac and Linux. Okay, so I'm just downloading it for Mac. So let's download it. It might take some time depending on the speed of your internet. It's almost 600 MB of the file size. Okay, let's wait until the download finishes. Okay, looks like the download finished. Let's go there. So it will be on your download folder. Yeah, so it just downloaded now, right now. Let me double click it. Okay, so it's opening the installer. You have to allow this, okay, and then you need to have your admin rights, admin permission. Click on continue. If you go through this readme, it is just telling you what are the packages. It's not only installing Python, along with it, it is installing a lot of other libraries which you'll need soon. So that's what I like about Anaconda. It will give you everything. So just straightforward, click on continue. There's license. If you want, you can read it. Otherwise, you can continue. Here you have to agree. Now installation type. So basically it says that it will take 600 MB on space in your computer. You can change the location, but I'll just leave it default. Now let's hit install. It is already installed. That we have all successfully installed Python with Anaconda. Let's try to see how we can execute our first program. So as a first step, what we can do is we can open Jupyter Notebook. The way to open Jupyter Notebook was just typing Jupyter Notebook. So basically what we have to do is, if you just type Jupyter, so this will open a Jupyter Notebook. So I'm not hitting enter yet because I have already opened it. So if you look at it, so I have already opened here my Jupyter Notebook. So what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to create this new, and then I'm creating Python 3. So that means I'm creating a Python 3 kernel. So here, Untitled, let me rename it. Let me rename it as my first program. Okay, yeah, let me do that. Now, as you might have seen in other programming language, the first program we do is to print hello world. Okay, let me try to do that here. So all we have to do is just one line here. So let me go to this cell, type print hello. That's it. If you hit enter, if you hit shift and enter, this is going to execute it. Now, if you change this value, for example, hello world 1, it will change. So it's as simple as that. So here I am using a function called print. That is a built-in function in Python. So there are a lot of there are many other built-in functions which will come across later. So now this program, you might ask that, okay, what if I want to run it as .py file, .python file? Okay, how to do it? So it's very simple. All you can do is just click on file and download it. Download as .py. So let's download it. Yeah, let's skip it. So as you can see, if I go to my terminal or download folder, I will be able to see this. Okay, so in Finder, so you see it is there in the download folder. Now how do I execute it? So let's go to my terminal here. Let me see my present working directory. It is my home directory. Let me go to download folder. Okay, if I go to downloads, So you see, I have this my first program.py. So in order to run it, all we have to do is just type Python my first program, and that's it. So you see, it is executing it. It is printing this value, hello world. Now, apart from running into Jupyter Notebook, there is another way that you can execute it. So there is something called interactive shell in Python. So all you have to do is just type Python, only Python. Okay. If you have Python 2 and Python 3, so you have to do it like Python 3 and Python 2. But for me, I have only one Python. For example, if I just try which Python, you see it's giving me the path of the Python. It's telling my home directory opt Anaconda 3. So that means I have only Python 3 and there is no other conflict. So in order to go for my interactive shell, all I have to do this Python. Okay. So now you see this 3 arrows. That means I am into the interactive shell. Okay. So now if you want to hit anything, if you want to execute any command here, you can do it just like Jupyter. Let's say I want to do print hi. So it's doing. Let's say I want to add few numbers. Add 2 numbers. 2 plus 3 is returning 5. So this is how you can also run the program here interactively. Okay, in order to exit this interactive shell, hit exit, open and close parenthesis. So that's it. Now let's go back to our Jupyter notebook. Okay, so this is our first program. Now before I proceed further, I wanted to give you some tips about Jupyter notebook and what you should know in order to work in Jupyter notebook. So first thing is, this area is almost like a browser. Okay, you can go up and down and you can create a new folder. For example, you just click on new and then click on folder in order to organize. Now if you want to rename it, it become untitled folder. If you want to rename it, click on this, then hit rename. Then let's say I rename it as test. Okay, so it has created a test folder. Now if you want to delete it, you can move and you can delete. So let's say I want to delete this folder now. Okay, what you can do is just click on delete. Okay, coming back to my first program. Okay, it was already open. I've opened one more. You see there are 2 tabs open, so let me close one tab. So what we can do now is and create multiple other cells. So just click on option enter. Okay, so this will create a new cell. Now let's say I want to delete this extra cells. What we can do, just click on escape and dd, escape dd. So this is like that. Now you want to just execute this cell, but you don't want to create any extra cell. So all you do is hit shift enter. Shift enter. Now another thing I want to mention about here is, okay, of course there is another way. You can just hit this run. That will also execute. You see, select this cell and hit run. This one is, let's say some program is running for long, you can stop it, stop the kernel. Okay, you can stop it. Yeah, there are other interactive other ways to create extra cell. You can create this insert cell below. Okay, there are this insert. For example, you don't want to create shortcut. Let's say print hi. Okay, now what you want to do, let me delete it. Let's say you want to create a cell above this line. So also what you can do, you can click on insert cell above. So it creates a cell above. Similarly, insert cell below. That way also you can do it if you don't like the shortcut. Yeah. However, there is another thing I'd like to mention here. If you click on this drop down, you see there is a code, Markdown, and other things. Okay, so I'll just mention about Markdown. So what is Markdown is kind of built-in documentation. So actually in this cell, if I select this cell and hit M, this has become Markdown. Now if I click on this, you see, okay, let me delete this one. You see, this is not a executable cell, but this is some kind of documentation. Okay, so it will not execute, but you can create any kind of documentation. Now on this Markdown, there are some basic things which I think you should know before we proceed. So one is why this Markdown is useful is, let's say you want to create an exhaustive documentation along with your code. So what you can do is, okay, I'll create a cell above this line. So I'll create a cell above this line, okay, and let me convert this into Markdown. So all I do is select this cell, hit M. That has converted into Markdown. Now if I use only one hash, that means it is the title. So let's say my title is my first program. Okay, now this is the title. Now if you use double hash, this become your heading. Okay, now if you use 3 hash, this become your subheading. Okay, now subheading level 2, you can do it, you get the idea. Similar way you can proceed. Okay, something like that. Okay, now if you just hit Shift and Enter, you see, this is how you can do the documentation. Now if you want to edit this, just double click this cell. So you're back on this cell. Now let's say you want to do some kind of bullets. Okay, so what you can do, just add a hyphen and then bullet 1, let's say. You see, it has created a bullet. Now similarly, if I do, you see, it has created bullet 2. Now let's say I want to create a numbered item. Okay, so I've created number 1. So all I have done is created number 1, just one space, and whatever value you want to do. It can be anything. Okay, I can say text 1. Okay, now similarly, if I want to do number 2, I can do text 2. Okay, so text 1 and text 2 is coming in a 2 different line. In order to eliminate that, you can use br command. Yeah, so you get the point. So not only that, there are a lot of other syntax which you can learn. For example, I want to create my text as bold. Okay, so what I can do is I can create I think double underscore, then let's say a bold text. I think it's like that. Yeah. Okay, so this is bold text. Yeah, so I think if I do single underscore, it will be italic. Yeah. So this is how you can create your documentation for your program. This is very helpful. There are exhaustive lists, but I think I'll just cover the basics. So basically what I covered is how to execute one cell, how to I'll hit Shift and Enter, how to execute a cell and move to next cell. I can do Option Enter, how to delete this, say escape delete like this, and how to add heading, subheading, title, text, bold text, etc. I think that's it for today's lecture.